I know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllDay.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin with DreAllDay.com. Today we are talking priorities. I get asked questions often by students, especially about time management. Dre, how do I manage my time when I'm on the basketball team, I'm on the soccer team, I got school responsibilities, I got a girlfriend, still want to spend time with my friends, I got to do these things to take care of my family, you might even have a job at the time. How do I prioritize all of these things going on? I'm going to give you three simple questions that you're going to ask yourself anytime you want to prioritize. And this is not a tactical prioritizing that I'm talking about here. This is more of a strategic, this is an overall life principle prioritizing that I'm talking about. So this is not how do you prioritize when you got 1 week and you got to finish this project and work on your game and you got to apply for this job. I'm not talking tactical. Tactical is like something happens and you do something, that happens and you do this, is reactive. I'm talking about overall strategizing. This is something you could use for your entire life, not just something you use for one situation or one crisis or one emergency that just came up 2 days ago. Everybody understand that? Good. This is how you prioritize in life. First question you're going to ask yourself is this: what am I about? We give a little time to that because this is a question that many people never ask themselves. Therefore, they don't have an answer. Therefore, they don't know. And therefore, their lives is going in all these different directions like a jigsaw puzzle that's never been put together. They don't even know what they're about. So this is the question you got to ask yourself. What am I about? What am I about? Who am I? What do I stand for? What am I on this planet for? What do I represent? If someone doesn't know me and they just needed to know something about me and I had 2 or 3 sentences to say, what is the answer? What am I about? So write that question down. Write it on your mirror. Write it on your, text message it to yourself. Write it down in your notebook. Whatever you do, somewhere that you need to look at it and address that question. Take some time to address that question and come up with an answer. What am I about? That's the first question you got to ask yourself. Once you're clear what you're about, now at least you know who the hell you are. Okay, you're not just this random person. You may have been up to this point, but hopefully this changes it. What am I about? Once you have an answer to that question, and this does not have to happen in 30 seconds or the time it takes me to go through these in the video. This may take you weeks. It might take you a year to think about this before you really get clear on the answer. It might take you 5 years, but at least work on it. Do something. Don't just go around randomly. You don't even know who you are. How would you know what you like, what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want for it? Number one, what am I about? You notice how many times I said that, how important it is. Number two, what can I do to make my life reflect what I'm about? This is question number 2. What can I do to make my life reflect what I'm about? Because right now, if you look at yourself, you look at the last 24 hours of your life or the last 72 hours of your life, and you look out, you lay down every single thing you did. You put it down on paper, every single thing you did over the last 24 hours, 72 hours, the last 2 weeks. You look at it, and you didn't know you. You just looked at this list. What would you say this person is about? Just looking at it, what would you say this person's about? If you didn't know them, you didn't know anything. What is this person about? Now, you're going to have an answer. And then you need to go back to your answer to number 1. What am I about? Do they match up? Yes or no? If you've never asked yourself question number 1, I 100% guarantee you the answer is no. They don't match up. There's no way this would just magically be happening if you never asked. There's no way that your life is a direct reflection of what you're about if you never asked yourself what you're about. No way. So if you've asked yourself this question, the answer is going to be yes. But I'm going to assume, just from the amount of people I've dealt with in life and had presented them this question just to see what they had to say, 97% of people have never even thought of the question, let alone come up with an answer for it. 97 is being generous. It's closer to 100. So the second question is, what can I do to make my life a reflection of number 1, what I'm about? That's the second thing you do. Here's the third thing you do. Remember, this video is about prioritizing. What can I do right now that reflects on my answer to question number 2? So these all work together. Question number 3, what can I do right now that will make my life begin to take the shape, to be a reflection of what I can do to make my life look like what I'm about? So it all goes together. So the first question is what I'm about. The second question, what am I about? Second question is, what can I do to make my life look like I'm actually about that, instead of me just saying it? or writing it down. And the third thing is, what can I do right now that makes my life in this exact moment, the moment that I'm being right now, be a reflection of what I can do to be about what I claim to be about. Because see, if you just say it or just write it down, answer number one, but you don't take any action, then you're just claiming to be about that. You ever know anybody who claimed to be about something but they weren't actually about it? Why? How do you know that they weren't actually about it? Because when it came time to do something that reflected it, they didn't do it. They didn't want to do it, or they neglected to do it, or they did something completely different. All of you know exactly what I'm talking about, and all of you could probably think of an example of someone I'm talking about. Maybe there have been times in your life where you were the example. You don't even have to think of it to beat yourself up or knock yourself down about it, but you could say, listen, okay, that happened in the past. The past is over. Nothing I can do about it. It's there, but I accept it, but I moved on. I'm in the present right now. What am I about right now? What can I do about what I'm about right now? And what can I do at this exact moment that reflects what I can do about it? Because you might not be able to do everything. Because you might say, I'm about basketball. Or what can I do? What can I do to show that I'm about basketball? You can say, well, I can work on my game a lot. I could go get a signature manual at hoophandbook.com. I can watch all Dre's YouTube videos and apply the things that he teaches. I can work on my mental game with the Bulletproof Bundle, the mental handbook, Mirror Motivation, 100 mental game best practices, and the Super You. I can do all those things. I can subscribe to Dre's podcast, the Work on Your Game podcast, and listen to anything that Dre puts out there and read anything that Dre refers to. You can do all those things. Those all be great things to do. But in the exact moment that you're writing all these things down that you can do, you might be sitting in class. You might be at school. You might be in the middle of a lecture at college, an hour, 30-minute class at college. You're only 15 minutes into the class, and you watching this YouTube video because the teacher is boring. So the third question is, what can I do right now that will get me closer to where I need to be? Then what you would do if you're that student in that situation is pay attention in class so that you get enough of the information so that when it's time to take the exam, you can pass it, so you can pass that class and move on to the next one. Because you're in school for a reason, so that you can graduate, get out of there, so you got the paperwork, the diploma or the degree or whatever it is, because that's part of the game. Even though that has nothing to do with playing ball, in the grand scheme of things, it's part of the game. You got to go to school if you want to play ball in school in the United States. That's just the way it works. So that means you got to pass a certain amount at a minimum level just to be eligible to play on a team, so you can do what you really want to do, which is play ball. So understand that everything fits together. It's all part of the game. Even though school has nothing to do with playing in the D League or playing for the Atlanta Hawks in the NBA, going to school will allow you to play ball in college, which will put you in position to go play in the NBA or overseas or the D League or whatever it is you're trying to do. And you can swap out NBA and basketball and all that for whatever you got going on to make sure you're playing the game the right way. And it's not always directly that thing that you're doing, but it's indirect. Again, school, what you're doing in class has nothing to do with how well you can play basketball. But if you don't do your thing in class, you won't even be allowed to play basketball. So no one will even know how good you are. You understand what I'm saying? So this is all part of the game. This is how you prioritize, and you got to keep all these things in mind. If you got other questions, what you need to do before you ask the question is you need to go subscribe to the Work on Your Game podcast, which is on iTunes, it's on SoundCloud, it's on Stitcher, it's on Google Play, it's on Blueberry. You name something, the Work on Your Game podcast is on there. All right, go look it up. Listen to it every single day. Start at the very first episode if you've never heard of it before. Listen to all of them. Don't skip anything. Listen to everything so you got all the information. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com.